out against this man. He's chasing out control. And not the other way around.
That's it, man. Game over, man. Game over.
Please. You can kill it.
Nobody trusts anybody now.
Come on, you hate. You want to live forever?
I got a really bad feeling about this.
Godzilla will live.
And welcome back to the 93rd episode of the Monster Movie Stompdown. I think it's 93rd. We've done so many, I'm kind of losing count.
You usually have that down.
I do, but
Yeah,
we're just going to go
before we
with 93 because I know we're getting close to 100.
Okay.
So, of course, got your host Sludge here, co-host across from me,
It's Mark.
and our brother from Texas.
Ruben.
And we have got, it's Thanksgiving time, and we decided to do something special for you this month with bird-focused films. And so we'll tell you about the next one later on in the episode. But this movie we did, The Giant Claw.
Oh, yeah.
For our kicking off
Okay,
of
before you
Thanksgiving.
start, I do need to apologize, Ruben. We had an accident before the show. I have knocked Godzilla's arm
Dude.
off.
He straight up broke him.
Well,
So
but what people don't, he made me feel bad because I thought, oh man, I've broke this toy. It was super glued on. It wasn't like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just broke it.
no, he totally broke it.
Yeah.
That's what he did. So
Didn't happen. I just needed to apologize.
we got you got to show him, man, what you did there. You know, grab him and point him to your camera, and now it's just his hands barely hanging out of his mouth
it's in
here.
his mouth.
Oh my goodness!
Oh.
Look at that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I see it. Look at that.
Can't believe.
It was
Man.
accidental. I was going for the chicken stick, and
Oh, and boom.
and he got
Well,
away.
if that does anything, then people should know now. You don't get between Mark and a chicken stick.
That's
Like
exactly
the King of
right.
the Monsters went down, or at least the rip off of the King of the Monsters, because that's one of the Dormays. Which I mean, come on, dude, that was a gift from my grandmother.
Well.
And I just totally.
Oh yeah.
Let's put his little hand back in his mouth there, and we'll be good. So, yeah, Mark decided to break that beforehand. So, man, we're stoked. We're off the heels of Halloween. I thought that went good. You guys like that one?
Oh yeah, real good.
But what was your all's favorite part about Halloween?
Well, actually, about our the top 10
Or the special
everything.
episode,
I thought
everything.
the whole month was just great. Everything was fantastic, really good. Even like Stompy and Frank's episode.
Oh, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, really good. Really
Their episode turned out fantastic. It ran into some issues because they that we were kind of doing something different, reviewing a little bit more of the movie with them, and we got hit with that copyright thing from YouTube. So me and Stompy were trying to figure it out, and if I'd have left it up to Stompy, it would not have been resolved very well. We
Well,
probably
there might not be a YouTube left.
no, we would have went into World War III without question. He was so mad about it, but yeah, it went really good.
According to Stompy, he warned you about it, and he said that you ignored him and told him just to shut up and do what he's told.
Now, that is not true. That is
I can
not
see that.
true.
He
Okay.
does. I mean, we had a long conversation. How did you let this happen? He goes, I didn't let it happen, Ruben.
He does me and
I
you.
kept telling Sludge that we're going to run into copyright issues, and he just kept ignoring me. And then he finally told me to shut up, know my role and shut the hell up is basically what he said.
He
I'm like,
did-
well, I can,
Sludge does us
Mhm.
that way. We can see where Stompy's coming
I
from.
can see.
Oh yeah,
I do not. Okay.
yeah.
Now, so I mean, Stompy was concerned. He said, "Hey, are we going to hit copyright issues?" And my explanation to him was, "I don't think we will because we're not reviewing the whole film. Of course, we're not monetized, and we're breaking it up into segments. And I thought we'd be fine. So we're up here. We finished editing the episode, and then we upload, and it took us a couple hours to get it done." And then boom, got hit with copyright. He's like, I told you, man. I told you, blah, blah, blah. I was like, no. So then we found the timestamp from when it got hit, and we figured it was probably just the logo or the title because it was in that time frame. So we went back.
I'd say that they probably just have a logarithm that looks for that. And then they caught it. And
that's what we thought. And so we cut that out and then re-uploaded it all again, a couple more hours, and we got hit again. I was like, all right, let's just let it go through. Let's file the appeal type deal. And then, we waited a couple days. They never responded. So YouTube removed it and we were good to go, so. But I think it went really, really, really good. Frank is rather offended that I suggested that movie for them because he thought, I was his friend. He said, and I said I scared him with the movies. But
yeah, poor Frank. Poor Frank.
He'll be okay. So, Ruben, what was your favorite thing about Halloween?
I'm with Mark. I love doing the top 10. I had a lot of fun doing that. Even though it was torture getting it all together, and just love it. I mean, I love everything about Halloween. I mean, it's so funny. I can watch scary movies any time of the year, anytime I want. But for some reason, it's just a little different in October. The whole month of October is just a little different. And, I was still kind of getting over the flu, so I really didn't give out candy this year or anything. But I still had fun that night watching scary. Actually, I was watching Astros baseball, but it was still fun.
That's scary enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
The World Series champs.
Yeah. Well, and
That's right.
Going at once. Yeah. I don't watch baseball. I don't care. But so Halloween was a blast. I loved the whole month. Doing the top 10 was great. And of course, we had our contest, and there's still one floating out there that no one's guessed. But of course, Kurt got one. And Kurt, man, Harper, of course, he's a listener, but he's become a friend, and that's what the whole community's we want to do. He was on it, man. He did his top 10 with us day by day by day, and I thought that was super freaking cool. And of course, he won one of the contests, and because of that, one of the prizes for Halloween for him, of course, he's got a prize pack coming that I got to get shipped out to him. Is we will actually have a little review from Kurt on this episode for none other than, as we're talking about bird movies, The Giant Claw, which it's kind of a turd fest of a film, to say the least, So, but yeah, so not only will you all, of course, have our review in this episode, in the Stomp Rating, but we will have Kurt's as well. So you'll get to hear what Kurt has to say about it, and his Stomp Ratings included too. So we're pretty stoked about that. And congratulations, Kurt, to winning the Halloween prize pack and the contest for that. Dude. So he's on it, dude. I mean, when it comes to monster movies, dude's pretty on it. He sent me a video clip testing some video of his where he's doing filming his review from, and you guys will see later. And he's got a them poster in the back and a Big Trouble in Little China. I was like, dude, those are awesome.
Oh, yeah,
super cool. But all right, well, let's get started on this. We are doing The Giant Claw. Here's the trailer.
Got one of the planes. It's coming after me.
Mitch.
That bird is extraterrestrial. Comes from outer space. From some godforsaken antimatter galaxy millions and millions of light years from the Earth.
Atomic hydrogen weapons capable of wiping cities, countries off the face of the Earth, are completely ineffective against this creature from the skies.
There it is now. Attacking the United Nations building.
The bird's after us, chasing us. How are you doing? For God's sake, hurry, man. It's catching up with us fast.
All right, so that was the trailer for The Giant Claw, and yes, it is as ridiculous as it looks when you saw it just then. So this movie came out in 1957, came out in June of 1957, was directed by Fred Sears, and Fred Sears, of course, the year prior actually did one monster movie, one science fiction movie. He did Earth versus the Flying Saucer, and he did the Werewolf. And Saucers was definitely a far superior from the Werewolf to the Werewolf, but the Werewolf was still pretty good. And of course, this movie stars Jeff Morrow and then Mara Corday are the two big actors in the movie. Jeff Morrow, you might recognize, might not recognize, because his big role, in my opinion, was playing Exeter in This Island Earth, and of course his forehead was about 6 inches taller than what it is in this movie. But he was also in The Creature Walks Among Us, the Creature from Black movie we don't normally speak of. And then Mara, is it Mara or Mara Corday? I don't really know. Mara Corday?
I say Merrick.
Mara Corday, you think?
That's the way I say it. That's how I say it in my head. I don't say it out loud and just wander around the street and say it.
Well, I thought maybe you might. I didn't know if anybody knew. I figured it'd be Ruben.
Hey, I've seen some guys. They might yell "Merrick," like Exorcist.
Well, I mean, Ruben usually knows the ladies on these films pretty well, so I figured he might know. But so Mara Corday is what I'll go with. You should know because of course, she was in Tarantula. And then she was in The Black Scorpion. So good cast, good director in this movie. What went wrong? I have no idea. So pretty much what happens is they start off.
What went wrong was what was flying in the sky. That's what went wrong.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh. So this movie takes place up in the Arctic area, and of course, like most movies, Beast from 20,000 Fathoms or any Gamma, any of those, starts off. They're testing, doing some military testing, and Jeff Morrow's, the main character, and he's electric scientist of some kind, but he pilots a jet, and he sees a UFO. The UFO ends up being the giant claw, which we come to find out actually came from like another dimension, and it's the size of a battleship and starts destroying everything. And they can't stop it because nothing can penetrate what ends up being this antimatter or matter shield that surrounds it, and they have to come up with, as it's destroying everything, a antimatter gun of some sort that they attach to the back of an old B-52 bomber. Right, or B-52 bomber,
a B-52,
and managed to shoot it and take the antimatter shield down, and then they go to the front of the plane, and then they shoot it down with regular bullets, and it falls into the ocean. Not causing a bunch of havoc. It does attack another couple military planes, and what's a pretty cool scene because they all eject out. They're jumping out parachuting, and then the giant claw flies down and starts eating them all. It picks up the train. At one point, there's some cool little scenes in there. Then, of course, at the end, it attacks New York City and the Empire State Building, and before they finally take this thing down and stop it. Run-of-the-mill science fiction monster movie for sure. I'll start this one off because I don't remember the last time who started off last, but since I'm already jabbering about it, this movie was very interesting. I thought this movie was actually exceptionally well for the first 24 minutes until the claw shows up on the screen. I'm like, this is pretty good. I'm like, good acting, good storyline, good directing. What can I expect? You got Fred Sears, you got Jeff Morrow, and all this stuff going on. I'm like, this is pretty good so far. And then you see the giant claw, and it's like, what just happened? Like, this thing is hands down the worst looking giant monster movie of the 50s. It deserves an award. It's so bad. It's just a giant, super long neck flying turkey buzzard thing of some sort. So what they originally wanted to get stop motion done by Ray Harryhausen, and of course that was too expensive. And the producer Sam, can't remember his last name, starts with an H, is very well known for low budget films and just wasn't paying the money for it. So it paid like what we were talking earlier, like
$50, $50,
$50. Yeah, so $50 for a special effects company I'm assuming a special effects company out of Mexico to make this thing. And
there was just a guy's name.
Y'all better be careful now.
Look,
y'all better be careful now.
Maybe it was. I'm not saying trying to offend Ruben. I don't know if it was $50, 50 pesos. Who knows? It looks 50 pesos. In my opinion,
I think it wasn't a company. I think it was just some guy sitting at the house didn't have nothing else to do, and it was
Yeah, I
knitted
think they-
or put this thing together and was sitting outside and somebody drove by and say, that's it. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, like how much do you want for that? And it's like, well, $50. He's
go.
like, okay, that'll work. So this thing is very bad looking. I mean, to give it a little bit of credit, you know, I mean, it's googly eyes because they're Cookie Monster eyes. Like I'm bound and determined to find out that the eyes from the giant claw somehow made it into a recycle bin and became the eyes for the Cookie Monster in Sesame Street like 20 years later. So big googly eyes that do at least move. The eyebrows move a little bit. The nose snarls up, you know. So I was like, hey, that's kind of a cool attempt. But man, the rest of it is just atrocious looking and just handled so bad. The special effects in this movie are terrible. And I watched some pretty bad movies. It's not Zarkor bad, right, Mark? I mean,
Exactly.
It's not.
Exactly.
It's not Zarkor bad, but especially when you get to the end when he's attacking New York City, that was an absolute joke. Like I see that, and I don't know how John Carpenter hasn't released Godzilla vs. Gorgo yet, because I'm sure even as a child filming Godzilla vs. Gorgo, John Carpenter did. It's still better than the final scene in this movie, because the miniature set definitely made is probably making Eiji Tsuburaya turn over in his grave right now. You know what I mean? Like he had to have seen that. I bet he didn't even finish it. He probably saw the first miniature in that movie back then in 57 when it came out. It was like, I just did Godzilla. This is a joke, you know. It's so bad it's fun. I will say that much, and that's what little saving grace it has is the first 20 minutes of the film. Again, Fred Sears does a great job with movies, and Jeff Morrow's fantastic, and Mara Corday she's a great actress too. So the first 20 minutes of the movie, I'm like, yeah, this is going to be great, and then it just goes freaking crazy at that point. It's terrible. It is so bad. But I do know Fred. Or not Fred Sears, but Jeff Morrow. None of the cast even knew what it looked like, the actors, until after it premiered. And so there's a story where Jeff went to I think maybe his hometown to watch the premiere of the movie and was like, this is so bad. He was embarrassed. He left early of the film so that no one would recognize him, and then went home and got drunk after seeing the movie, because it's pretty bad. I couldn't even find out what this thing made in the box office or a budget for it, because I'm sure the budget was $50 for the bird. Couldn't imagine it'd been much more. So I don't have a whole lot of other good things to say about this movie other than that. Like, it was is it worth a watch? I mean, you'd probably be more mad at us if we told you needed to watch this before you died versus missing it before you died. Like, this is one I would say you could skip. Like, unless you're just an avid monster movie fan and you want to see every monster movie you can, go watch it. It is at least mildly entertaining, because you will laugh a lot at the giant claw. I mean, every bit of it. Even if you pay attention, like I was talking to Mark outside, because there's tons of stock footage in this movie, especially towards the end and stuff. You can see a tail end clip of one of the saucers from Earth versus the Flying Saucers in one scene, because they didn't have a budget for it, so they just cut it from that movie. So it's like, Fred, you can give us the film, we'll use stuff from it. So it's entertaining. Mildly entertaining, I would say at best, but that's about as much praise as I can give it.
No, it's not entertaining.
Well, Mark, you go next. You tell us what you think about this.
The best part of this movie is the very end when the claw is sticking out of the water, and that's it. And it's over.
It's over.
And
Thank
it's
the
done.
Lord.
It's done.
There is no more movie left at this point. Yes.
But my biggest is just like, you go back to King Ghidorah when he first came out, those kind of movies. Any animal or monster that cannot control his neck, it's hard for me to buy into. And this thing was worse than anything that I've ever seen.
Oh, dude, there was no neck control. Whatever. There's this scene where he's on top of what is it? The United Nations building, and he's trying to attack it with his head, and you can tell at one point they just gave up and just put the head's weighted, so they just kind of held it and just let it go. It's just like whoop, and it was so bad, bad.
I think the thing with this movie is that in the beginning there was decent acting, and you got good actors in there. It's just that it falls off a cliff once the giant claw makes the scene, and it's just a bad movie.
And that's
Bad
supposed to
movie.
be the star of the film, you know.
Oh yeah.
Well, there's that one scene with Jeff Morrow, and I don't know the actor's name. You know, the army sergeant. Whenever after he gets back from landing the plane, they send all the other planes out looking for him, and one of the planes goes missing, and he's like giving him a hard time. And Jeff Morrow's like, "Dude, what are you busting my chops for, man? Like, I'm not lying. You know, I've told you what I see." I mean, that whole scene, I'm like, this is a dang good scene, man. Like Morrow's really in it, and then yeah, John Close shows up and just screws everything.
It's just bad. I mean, it's just a bad movie. And the fact that I did manage to sit all the way through it and didn't fall asleep, says something for the acting and trying to get something out of the movie, but not for me. Not for me.
Pretty rough. Ruben, what about you, man? What did you think of the Giant Claw?
Well, I'm not of the opinion that it's the worst movie we've ever reviewed. First of all,
no, probably not.
I don't even remember the name of that freaking Javelina movie that we had to watch.
No,
what was the name of that movie?
Well, you said worst movie ever reviewed.
It was
Razorback. Oh no!
Oh, bull crap! Razorback is so far superior.
I watched this 10 times before I watched Razorback once.
Oh my lands!
I don't know if I can trust him as a co-host in the show anymore over that. I mean, Razorback.
I don't like. I do. Freaking, the only thing worse is that freaking fake dinosaur that we reviewed, but it's a better movie. I'm not going to compare it to that, but that dinosaur toy.
I went. My mind
called it a dinosaur.
When he's like, we've reviewed worst movies. My mind went to Colossal, and his went to Russell Mulcahy's directorial debut of Razorback.
Well,
I'm just,
has he been hanging out there with Good Beer, Bad Movie Night or Bad Beer? What do you call that thing?
He might have been spending too much time with Pete. I don't know Pete, at this point. Those luchador films are getting to their head.
Yes.
Is what I'm thinking.
Oh, now that I got that out of the way, okay, we've reviewed, and Colossus is a worse movie.
Oh my gosh, so bad.
But the first thing that and I saw the movie and the acting's great. I mean, this is first of all, it's a 50s sci-fi. So, it's a B movie. It's a C movie, not even a B movie. It's a C movie. And what did I text you? I said, this is Rodin's drunk, illegitimate cousin.
Yeah.
What the hell's going on here? And the guy looks like if Kramer was made into a giant, Kramer from Seinfeld was made into a giant monster buzzard. Because his hair looks like Kramer's.
Oh yeah,
dude. I could totally hear Kramer making the voice too. So
I'm watching that, and you're right. The design of the creature could have been so much more. And I'm pretty sure they got. I can't think of the word. They got Rick rolled. The guy says, "Hey, do you do design?" And the guy said, "Sure, I do." And then I'll give you $50. And he goes, "Okay, I'll do it." And then his wife says, "Who was that?" "Some dude wants me to make a bird." "You don't know how to do that." "Yeah, but he don't know that." Type of deal. So he didn't know that. So I'm just going to make this bird and make it. But the movie is so, you hit on it. It's so bad that it's good, that it started growing on me. I'm like, well, and you're right. Movies like this make you appreciate Toho so much more. Because Rodin came out the year before this?
Yeah. Rodin came out in 56. This came out in 57.
56.
What are you talking about? Like,
work on them.
Appreciate Toho more, dude. I appreciate Toei. I appreciate Yongari Monster from the Deep. I appreciate Zarkor more than this at this point.
Because they didn't have the attention to detail. That's what the problem with this movie is. I like the story. I like the fact that it's a bird from outer space. They basically said it's interterrestrial, space monster.
Right.
That's what they ended up basically saying. And with the antimatter shield, it blocked their radar. I like the fact that the government wasn't listening to him. Hey, I saw that, and he didn't believe it. And that was kind of silly too. That there's like 5 deaths before the government goes, maybe we ought to look into this a little bit more. And then they say, oh, come on, no hard feelings. I'm like, dude, you called me a liar. I don't know how many times. So that was kind of silly. But then once it got going, I thought it was cool. Is it the best movie? Is it top notch? 50s, 57, 50s movie. No, and I would classify it as I know there's no classification of a C movie, but I would call it a C movie. But it's a lot of fun. So I would watch it again just as a laugh, just as to, put it in and make fun of it type of deal. This is another, and I know I've mentioned it for other movies before. This is a Mystery Science Theater 2000 Mystery Science Theater movie.
Yeah, I was just thinking that when you were talking about. I was like, man, this would be perfect for Mystery Science Theater 3000. I don't know. I don't think they've ever done that. Have they?
It didn't pop up. I looked. It didn't pop up, but maybe they did. But it didn't pop up for me because I thought usually you put it in, and if they done it, it'll say, that it's done by Mystery Science Theater, and they haven't. This is the perfect movie for Mystery Science Theater, I think.
Oh yeah,
for
they'd have riff tracks of any kind. Yeah, this would be fantastic. Like I could see Tom Servo comparing the Giant Claw as like Crow's illegitimate brother or something. Like it would make it really, really good.
Yeah, and that's what brings this movie down a bit. If they would have spent just because even when the soldiers were parachuting out and the Claw ate them all. You could tell those were. I think they just went down to the toy store back when we were kids and got those little parachutes with the soldiers.
yeah.
Throw it up in the air and it's whatever catches. And it looks like they just went down to the toy store, got a bunch of those, and just threw them up in the air. And I'm like, man, if they would just have spent the money on the special effects, this movie could have been a lot better than it ended up being. I think what holds this movie back is the special effects. That's all that holds this movie back. That's the only thing that holds this movie back from being a top B rated, a B movie, other than that, I enjoyed it. So I kind of, I took points off because of the special effects not being that great, but overall I thought the story it's pretty original. You never hear of a antimatter shield,
or interdimensional monster of any kind. Like they did go really unique on the story. I will give them that.
Real unique on the story. I thought the story was great. The acting was good. I just thought, man, if they would have just spent a little bit more money on the special effects, I think there'd be a different consensus on this movie. Instead of the stomp rating would go up at least one stomp on this if they would have spent the money on the special effects. But like I said, what made this movie for me and got it more stomps is how much fun it was. It's just so hilarious watching him fly around, and like you said, he gets on top of even the Empire State Building. That was just. I'm like, man, they should at least call Toho and say, hey man, can you help us out or something? And they
because there's where he's sitting on it, and then like he moves, and you could tell that it's built in segments because the top piece kind of comes up a little bit, and you're like, oh yeah, that's definitely really bad miniature work right there, without a doubt.
But yeah, so to me, that's the only thing that holds this movie back. Oh no, I didn't give it the best of stomp ratings, but I also was a little bit more forgiving on this one than I was maybe on Razorback.
I still can't understand that. That boggles the mind.
Boy, that's even worse than Sony's Godzilla that you love.
Wait, are you saying Razorback is worse than Sony's Godzilla? Or the comparison?
The comparison, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. The comparison is definitely, that's just, come on, Ruben. Like, there should be penalty for that of some sort. So, but I'm with you, man. I think we all agree, definitely, the special effects is what was the biggest hinder on this one. But before we can give any type of stomp rating, man, we got to find out what Kurt thinks of this film. So,
tell us, Kurt.
Kurt, what'd you think?
Hi, this is Kurt from Knoxville, and this is my Giant Claw review. When Sludge, Mark, and Ruben did their top 10 monster movie countdown for Halloween, I did one on the Facebook page too, and I placed the Giant Claw in my number 10 spot. I find this movie very charming, and it's a lot of fun. Also, it's kid-friendly, and I really enjoyed showing it to my daughter when she was much younger. So I think this is a well-written and directed and acted movie. It was directed by Fred F. Sears, who was an actor and a director. He narrates this movie, and he also directed Earth vs. the Flying Saucers, which had the Ray Harryhausen special effects, which was how initially they had gotten Harryhausen to do the Giant Claw, but it was going to cost way too much money and probably take too long, and so they ended up they ended up farming it out to an effects studio in Mexico on the cheap. Supposedly, the sum paid for the claw was $50. The movie stars Jeff Morrow as Mitch McAfee, who's a test pilot and an electrical engineer. Jeff Morrow was in some genre films. He was in Octoman, Kronos, The Creature Walks Among Us, and he played Exeter in This Island Earth. Mara Corday plays Sally Caldwell, a mathematician and systems engineer. We've seen her in some interesting things. She did 4 Clint Eastwood pictures at the end of her career. She did The Rookie, Pink Cadillac, Sudden Impact, and The Gauntlet. She was also in The Black Scorpion and Ruben's favorite, Tarantula. They both do a great job, and Morrow, he really helps the movie with a very charismatic and likable performance. And Corday, she's terrific, she's beautiful, and together they seem to have some chemistry at least. Although my daughter, she was a little freaked out when he leaned over and kissed a apparently sleeping Mara Corday on the airplane. She was a little bit bothered by that, but you know what? That's one of those things where that's at the time that this movie was made, that was not a big deal. And then rounding out the important players are Morris Ankrum as Lieutenant General Considine and Robert Shane as General Van Buskirk. Now, these guys chew a lot of scenery and they're a lot of fun. They're very they're very jovial for a couple of generals, and there's very friendly guys. Now, Ankrum, he was also in Earth versus the Flying Saucer, and both of these guys had really long careers, did tons of movies and TV. The Giant Claw was written by Samuel L. Newman and Paul Ganglin, and most of their work was in TV. They didn't really do any other genre stuff. The story for the Giant Claw, it's pretty typical of American 1950s monster movies. It never gets too slow, and it's nice because the claw does show up a lot. And the Giant Claw is the star of the movie, and it's weird. I mean, it's a giant turkey-shaped bird with this big long neck, and you can see its vertebrae. It's got this giant beak that's full of teeth. It's got 2 giant staring eyes and a mohawk. And they have it. It's great because when you first see the Giant Claw and throughout the film, when people see it flying by, it's just this big blurry blob. And I have to wonder if that wasn't partly to, maybe limit a little bit of the screen time of the claw. Also, there's a scene where they hear the Giant Claw and they look up, and there's this little buzzard flying around way up high in the sky. And you have to wonder, what were these guys told to make when they said, hey, we need you to make us this puppet, this marionette for our movie. It's called the Giant Claw. We need a giant extraterrestrial bird. And then these guys, turn in this thing. And then you have to wonder when it shows up at the studio and they're getting ready to film and they open up the box and they take out the Giant Claw. What were those guys thinking when they had to, when they had to make a movie with this bizarre marionette of a turkey monster, The thing is, though, Clawsy, it's got charm. You laugh at it, but it's in fun because it's a good story with good acting, and then along comes this ridiculous-looking monster that they tell us is as big as a battleship 11 times in the movie, and I have no idea how big a battleship is. I guess it's pretty big, but, and Clawsy has a really great scream and some really great sound effects, and they use them a lot. And it's, I can still hear Clawsy in the back of my mind talking about it. And it's very effective with the sound. And what they say is that Clawsy, the Giant Claw is supposed to come from an antimatter galaxy millions and millions of light years from Earth. And, it really looks like something out of this world. They nailed that for sure. This is a light, fun monster movie with some sciencey talk to explain away the claw and how you kill it. It's not real deep. It's nothing too complicated. you don't really have time to get bored. The Giant Claw is a lot of fun, and every time the Giant Claw comes on the screen, it's an absolute delight to behold. And that's why I put it at my number 10 spot. I really love this movie. Thanks, guys, and keep stomping.
All right, so Kurt did put this as one of his favorite movies during the Halloween time, so I could see where his review definitely favors it a little bit more. And yes, while it is campy fun, this one definitely struggled to make it too far up the Stomp rating list. So let's find out. I think it's Stompdown rating time. All right, so collectively, out of the four of us, because we had Kurt join us on this one got a 2.5 out of 5 for obvious reasons that we have completely talked about multiple times. Special effects were just super atrocious, especially when you have movies, I think, coming out at the same time. I mean, you got Tarantula, Black Scorpion, which is a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
Has amazing special effects. Even the Deadly Mantis. You know what I mean? This just was. They should have definitely spent a little bit more money. You know what I mean, on the special effects. I think it would have been much, much better of a film. Because it's hard. You're right, Ruben. You're right. I mean, it is. It's fun. It's campy, but the special effects are, man, for me, are so hard to pass.
That's what holds it back. I mean, and like I said, when I was watching it. And I'm like, man, what am I gonna? How am I gonna stomp rate this? And so, I guess it was a merciful stomp rating because I tried not to hold the special effects.
Yeah, you and Kurt definitely gave it the higher rating. Me and Mark definitely went real low on it.
I was a little bit more forgiving only because I thought that's the only thing that held it back. And I'm like, man, should I punish it? How much should I punish it for having bad special effects? And I kind of wrestled with it a little bit, and then I said, you know what, I'm it's still on the lower. To me, 3 and above is what I would call a recommended movie. If it's a 3 or above, and I was right on the border on that. So,
but I
guess I was in a good mood that night. Maybe I was just in a good mood that night when I was watching it because I was laughing. It was just so much fun.
I think though, when you're doing a science fiction monster movie, you have to have some kind of special effects. I mean, this movie had movie had none. I mean, it was just
well, it had some, but it was not very. They were not very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very I should say what it had was bad. In my opinion, in my review.
Yeah, and it's for me. I mean, the special effects. If you're doing a monster movie, that's your biggest thing is the special effects. And if you can't hit the mark, it's going to cost you dearly, I think.
And y'all have a good point. I don't know, thinking about it, because you're doing a monster movie, that should be a number 1 on your list are the special effects good?
Exactly.
Yeah. But then, but I put more weight on the story on this one, mercifully put more weight. And I didn't know this one was one of Kurt's favorites. Kurt, I didn't know it was one of your favorites. So when I was rating it, I didn't realize me and you were going to align closer than we thought we were.
I mean, both of us were pretty close. I mean, Mark gave him the low balls on this one, but you two were pretty close on this one, which is pretty good. So, can I recommend this movie? No rush. Don't rush to see this film by any means. But if you're bored and it happens to come on, and you're working in your garage or whatever, you don't have to turn it off because would mildly entertain you a little bit. I don't know. Maybe if you're working and you hear that thing. In the background, it might make you shoot your TV though. That's possible.
Well, you see, and I'm of the opinion, and I think I did this for another movie, and I don't remember which one. It's the kind you buy some pizza, some good beer, bad movie night beer.
Yeah,
it's recommended by and you sit there with your friends and you have a ball with it. You just have a ball with it.
Yeah, that would be the way, because then you're sitting there doing like Mr. Science 2000. You're just riff tracking the whole movie, and that's,
exactly.
That's where it would be enjoyable for sure.
Exactly.
So, all right. Well, you guys got anything else on this movie?
I'm good.
Okay. Well, then we know what's next, and Mark, I can't wait to find out what you thought about the movie you had to watch for penalty. So, it's time to test your might.
Test your might. Test your might. Test your might. Test your might. Test your might.
Okay, so before we get started on tonight's trivia, Mark, you lost the last one and you had to watch, well, it's got a couple names, Robot Monster or Roman. What did you think of Roman?
The few movies that where we've had to watch that Ruben has suggested to us have been great, and we've watched them, and but I'm going to.
Dude, the Twonky was fantastic. I love the Twonky. Thank you, Ruben, for that. Kiss Me to the Fan of the Park. Thank you for that.
I try so hard, yet I fail. I fail miserably.
You did not fail this time. It's bad enough I sat and I watched the Giant Claw and I survived through it, and then it's like, okay, well, let's watch Roman and get it over with. I mean, how much worse can it get? It did. It did. That is the absolute worst movie. It's just absolutely terrible from the start to the finish. The robot or Roman is a robot from the shoulders up. He's a gorilla from the neck down. And I'm just like, oh my lands. And it's just bad. It's bad acting. It's bad from start to finish. How could that ever been made? I just don't know.
Dude, I don't know how it was made, but I watched that forever ago. Enough that I remember when I first watched it, I was probably a preteen teenager. Late night Sci-Fi Channel or something like that, it came on. And I remember watching it going, what? Because it's like that movie, and I know we do these kind of quick, but that movie is so, what in the world is going on? Like, bouncing around, things change. You got the two archaeologists in the cave, and then the little boy, and what are you doing? And then all of a sudden the two ladies show up, and we're going to take a nap. They're taking a nap outside, like, Arizona or Nevada or somewhere. Like, what in the, how can you sleep in 150 degree weather?
There was no vegetation anywhere.
None. I didn't, at all, period.
And the fact they're in these gowns, they're like in these dresses, and I'm like, what are you doing, man? What's
they're dressed
on?
like they should be in, on Andy Griffith's show. You know what I mean? Like, that's what they look like. And then it goes from that to the boys secretly not sleeping, runs back to the cave. The guys are gone, but then all of a sudden this stuff starts flashing, and then there's Roman, and apparently he's killed off everybody on the planet in like 2 seconds. And except for the 8 of the people or 5 of the people or 8 of the people, they don't know. They have to, at the one point that, he calls his, lieutenant at his planet, and he's like, oh no, there's still 8 people living. He's like, I'm counting 5. He's like, no, there's 8. So then he finally finds the 6th one. He's like, no, there's 8. He's like, no, there's 6. And then all of a sudden they have to shoot a scene. It's like, oh yeah, there's 2. All of a sudden there's like, everyone on Earth's dead, but then like you have survivors on some space colony, and then they send the 2 that they just can't find, but isn't there, and is supposed to be there on a rocket ship, and he just kills them. Jason and something else was the name.
What's the deal with the alligator and the lizard?
What dude. So like that was all stock footage from like King Dinosaur and Island of the Dinosaurs.
You got those 2 actually fighting, and you see them, and then it goes right to claymation and a Triceratops, and then it goes back, and I'm like, what in the world?
Just so out of place. And all of a sudden it gets to the end, and the guy who the master or whatever, the Roman can't kill the girl because I don't know, for whatever freaking reason he can't kill the girl, and the master's like, oh well, then I'll kill you, boom, and then it kills Roman, and he's like, I'm gonna send the world back to prehistoric times, and all of a sudden you got those scenes again. It's like, what is going on? This movie is so, what the heck is happening? This was the time that they first discovered acid, and then they made the first film, while doing it.
Had to, because I compliment you, Ruben. I compliment you. You definitely made me watch.
I'm hearing here.
The best part, because Ruben, I don't know if you've ever seen it, and this is why I remember the movie and ended up getting the movie before you even mentioned it on the Plex, was you go through this freaking crap fest crazy ride of a film of just not knowing what's going on with robot-headed gorilla guy, and all of a sudden the boy wakes up and it was a dream the entire time. You're like, what was the purpose of what I just sat through? Was nothing whatsoever.
Oh,
Sorry,
yeah.
Ruben, go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
It was a fever dream. That's what it was.
Yeah, and the 150
What you're saying, it's a giant claw really isn't that bad then.
Compared to
Wow.
Roman,
Wow,
that's a good
you got a
perspective.
point
Yeah,
there. Yeah, you got a good point.
Okay, Giant Claw is a far superior film.
We
than
recommend
Roman.
you watch Giant Claw before you watch Roman.
Oh, absolutely. So, all right.
But
so,
the caveat is Roman was meant as a penalty. So
It was.
finally, it's a penalty. Yeah.
that was definitely a penalty film, and I didn't even have to take the penalty, but I was willing to sit down with Mark and watch it and be like, all right, dude, it's been a minute. So, all right, well, let's jump into it. It is time for our trivia and get the message or the questions loaded from Mr. Charlie.
I didn't study this time, so
we're going off a whim here. So, we'll see what Charlie sent us here. So, okay, first question. What is the largest flying bird in the world? Apparently, there was not a whole lot of trivia for the giant claw. A, the California condor. B, the wandering albatross. Or C, the great white pelican.
I'm going to guess on this.
I'm guessing that one, too. Mark, do you think you got that one?
I think I got it.
Ruben, do you think you got that one?
I haven't the slightest idea.
I'm with you on that one, Ruben. I don't know. I think it's a good guess. All right, number 2. Mitch and Sally are flying back to New York City when the plane is forced down by the UFO. What is, and we're talking about the giant claw now, not the real life animals.
Yeah.
What is unusual about the plane in this scene? A, it's a Russian model plane. B, the plane has no engines. Or C, the plane flies backwards suddenly.
I know the plane has engines. I saw it on fire. Let's see. Another guess.
I'm totally guessing this one as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Mark, you ready?
Yeah, I'm just going to leave it there.
All right. So, number 3, true or false question this time. The cast never knew what the creature looked like. I may have already given you all the answers. This one.
You
Dang
just
it.
gave that one away.
The cast never knew what the creature looked like until the movie was released in theaters. The bird cost the production company $750.
Oh.
True or false? Okay.
Yeah. There's one true and one. Okay.
Yeah, that's a half and half there.
Is there two? Okay, so let's go.
Yeah, but
I don't know what he
makes
meant.
it.
Oh wait, there's a third thing. Here. Okay, so we got. Okay. There's 3 of them. So what is he asking? See, Charlie, this is how I don't know ahead of time. So there's 3 statements. 1, the cast never knew what the creature looked like until the movie was released in theaters. I'm gonna write an answer for that one.
Okay, let's do it that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
The second one, the bird cost the production company $750. I'm gonna write an answer for that one.
Thanks to Sludge, we already know those 2 answers.
You're welcome. The animal with the largest claw of any animal in the world is the giant armadillo. Are we talking living animal?
What the heck?
I guess.
Where does he come up with this question? I don't know, too. So it's giant claw. Okay, so the animal with the largest claw of any animal in the world is the giant armadillo. True or false?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Are we ready for the answers?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's find out what we got to see. Y'all see now how we do this. We're so high tech. That's
I know it. Now
That's
you
how
see
this
all
works.
Yeah.
Yep. So, all right. First question.
This is a Sludge and Charlie deal.
It
Me
is
and Ruben's
not.
along for the ride.
What is the largest flying bird in the world? Answers were California condor, wandering albatross, or the great white pelican. Answer is B, the wandering albatross. With a recorded wingspan of 12.1 feet, with unofficial reports up to 17 feet. Dang, I put the condor.
So did I. That's who I saw.
Condor.
Who'd you put, Ruben?
I guessed that one because the other 2 were too obvious.
See, I'm starting to think now. Charlie.
You got that one right.
Yeah.
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 Oh, yeah,
Charlie said there's a mole.
Yeah.
I think I know where that mole is
I'm
now.
starting to look a little bit. I see that.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think I know who the mole is now.
If a mole is logical, then call me Mr. Spot.
Gee, many Christmas. All right, we see what's happening here. All right, number 2. Mitch and Sally are flying back to New York City when the plane is forced down by the UFO. What is unusual about the plane in that scene? A, it's a Russian model plane. B, the plane has no engines. Or C, the plane flies backwards suddenly. Answer is C. Just before it crashes, it slows down and backs up for a second.
I had no idea.
I didn't either. Not gonna lie, probably fell asleep.
I thought it didn't show the engines at first. After he said they caught on fire, but I already had B down, and at that point, I really didn't care.
No, I said, the bird attacked the engines because one of the engines on the right-hand wing was on fire. I remember that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Third question, which was a 3-parter. Okay. So first one, the cast never knew what the creature looked like until the movie was released in theaters. True. The bird cost the production company $750. False. It's $50.
There it is.
And the third one, the animal with the largest claw of any animal in the world is the giant armadillo. Answer is true.
I had no idea.
I put false.
I got false too. I missed that one.
All right, so I guess out of 6 total, I only got 2 of them.
I only got 2.
Mole?
What'd you get?
Yep. I got 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 4 right and 1 wrong. Right?
What?
No, you should have 5.
4 plus 1 is 5. We have 6 total questions.
Okay,
here.
so I got
Oh,
1
we only
and 2.
got 5.
Right? I got 1 and 2. Yeah.
1,
we have
2,
Oh,
3,
no, that's
4,
right.
5.
Yeah.
I'm going to shut up now and let the mole answer here. What's going on? How many did you get right again, Mole?
I picked last time, but I don't. I wasn't even prepared. So let me go back to look for my famous list here.
Crap.
Well, you know what? I know.
So wait a minute.
So we have to watch.
We both got 2.
We both got 2. We got to watch.
Okay, there we are. All right. What have we got to watch, Mole?
Okay, I'm gonna be sympathetic because I think it's a terrible movie. You're gonna watch Prophecy.
Oh, yes, that's what he said. We're gonna watch Prophecy.
We're talking, with Adrian.
With Tyler Shire. Yeah, Tyler Shire. That one. Sleeping Bag Monster.
I almost watched it today.
Did
Honest
you?
truth,
Dude,
yeah.
I watched it in September.
Yeah.
Like I've already watched that
I was
down.
on the Plex looking, and I almost watched it. Oh,
For a mole, he picks
he
pretty
did
good.
pretty good.
He does
Yeah,
picks
pretty
good
good.
movies.
Good job,
so,
sir.
Thank you.
I'm going to stick with my list. I don't think it's a very good movie. So.
I think Prophecy is fantastic,
Oh,
man.
yeah.
That mutant bear is awesome. I'm ready for that one.
Wait a minute. Can I change my answer, or am I stuck on Prophecy?
I don't know. We found out who the mole is, so should we give him a chance to?
Well, all right, go ahead. Give us.
Okay,
go
what
ahead.
is it?
I'm changing it now. This was a Pete suggestion. I forgot all about it. You're gonna
Oh
watch the
crap!
Oh,
no!
You're watching The Swarm.
What are we watching?
You're watching
What
The Swarm.
The Swarm.
The Swarm, the Killer Bee movie.
I've seen it.
yeah,
I've seen it. I can live through it.
We can do it.
Yeah,
yeah.
we got it.
Do that one.
Yeah.
There's
was
way
worse
worse
than
movies on my list.
I would have rather had the Prophecy, but yeah.
You can handle that one.
Hey, if one of y'all want to do the Prophecy, another one of y'all want to do the Killer Bees, y'all arm wrestle for it if you want.
It's my show. I'm taking Prophecy.
That is so wrong. So wrong, man.
So you got Swarm.
Oh my god.
Hey, y'all want to do that? Are y'all okay with doing separate movies?
Oh yeah, we'll do it. Yeah, we'll do it.
Yeah, I'm totally down. That'll be good.
Because I was totally unprepared because I didn't study, so I thought I was going to lose. I thought I'm losing this. There's no way. And, I just, like I said, I used logic on that first one. And that's the only reason I won.
Now, what kind of logic, Mark, tells you that an albatross is the largest wingspan?
Yeah, I'm checking it right now.
It wasn't about the albatross. It was about the other 2 answers. The pelican, you think, right? I mean, I would have went condor. I would have went pelican, right? Because those things are huge, right? So I'm thinking the giant the condor, you always think about them as, the giant condor. So I say, how would Charlie do this? Would Charlie put 2 super easy? He put 2 super easy one, and he put 1 not so obvious. So that was my logical thinking on the fly, of course.
Or would Charlie CC Ruben on the answers. That's what I want to know right there.
Well,
Yeah.
it really depends on how much overtime I've worked that week and how much I can afford to pay him.
Oh, is it? Yeah. Now he
See,
knows.
so, yeah.
What's Mark's looking? What's the size of the condor?
It's 9.5 feet.
Okay.
The condor is the largest North American
bird. Well, where's the albatross from? I'm a monster movie expert. I am
that's from Rime of the Ancient Mariner, Iron Maiden song. The
Is it really?
albatross.
Oh yeah, it is. Okay. You could have just if you just said I picked it because Iron Maiden, I'd have believed you.
What did he say the wingspan was on that?
What was it? Let me look real quick. Pull it back up. The wingspan on that was 12.1 feet.
The wingspan, according to Wikipedia, is 9.5 to 11.
Ooh. Well, it would max at 11.
Yeah, still.
I smell something afoot here.
Yeah.
And it's not a blue-footed booby. Haha, I know one bird. I got a little bit of
There's
poultry
another
knowledge. Yeah. Just because I remember I remember as a kid,
yellow-bellied sapsucker. That's the one I know.
I just thought it was funny when we get those American books, or like the binders of the American whatever, and they had the blue-footed booby in there, and it was just a normal-looking bird with blue feet, but that cracked me up as a kid because it was called booby.
Booby, yeah.
That was all I needed. That's why I remembered that bird. So, and did you find out about the pelican, Mark?
Who cares about the pelican? It doesn't matter.
Okay, well, there we go. All right, so it looks like me and Mark have lost.
You would think. I mean, we have pelicans down here.
Oh, yeah.
They're huge. They're huge.
Well, I just know that it does not say that the albatross is the largest bird. It doesn't say it anywhere on here.
Well,
I didn't even pay attention to the name. All I said is, okay, giant condors, the first thing that came to mind. California condor is what he put down there, right?
Yeah, California.
And then the pelican, I'm like, those are two huge birds. That makes it too obvious. I'm taking the one that's not so obvious. That was it.
Well, I think you made the right choice there.
Yeah.
So, but all right. Well, that wraps it up for this one. So, a couple things coming up we do want to talk to you guys about. What'd you find out, Mark?
Pelicans up to 12 feet.
Ooh, so it could be. I mean, pelicans up to 12 feet.
Yeah, up to 12 feet. 6 to 12 feet.
6 to 12 feet.
Yes.
So, Charlie, you've been challenged by Mark. Mark is challenging you. Cannot believe that.
I didn't send you no money, Charlie, so it doesn't matter. I mean, that's just how that is. I'm not like my two other co-hosts.
Oh no. We know who the mole is. We got the mole now. Moly. Yeah. So, all right, guys. So that was the Giant Claw episode, and of course the giant bird trivia for that. And me and Mark have to watch Prophecy and the Swarm.
You got the Swarm, and I got the Prophecy.
No, I got the Prophecy, and you got the Swarm.
Okay.
So that's the way we're going to go.
Mark has seniority.
Good point. I'll take the Prophecy.
Fine, I'll take the Swarm. All right, fine.
Thank you, Ruben. Thank you, Ruben.
Yeah. Hey, I'm a union
Thanks,
store.
Mole.
I'll fight for you. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, couple quick things real quick. Of course, when this releases, you should have seen, hopefully, the commercial. If not, you'll get around to seeing the commercial. For Thanksgiving, it is going to be a battle of the birds between us and Stompy Frank and deciding who's going to have the better, bird movie. And it was difficult because we did ultimately decide that neither show could do Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds. We just figured that wouldn't be fair to do. So we, for Thanksgiving, will be watching a new movie came out this year called The Hatching. And Stompy and Frank will be reviewing a 2011 movie called Roadkill. And we will decide between us what's the better film. And then, of course, you guys let us know which one you think would be the better film for that. And also want to let you guys know Christmas is right around the corner. And let me tell you, it is going to be a scary, bloody Christmas this year at the Give Me Back My Podcast Network because we will be doing The Mean One, which is a new horror movie that's coming out, a monster movie about the Grinch. Give Me Back My Action Movies, Give Me Back My Horror Movies. We'll be doing The Thing, Die Hard 2, and Child's Play for their Christmas ship movies. And then Stompy and Frank is doing Gremlins for Christmas. So it'll be a monstrous
man. Stompy and Frank are lucky.
Yeah.
Lucky
Ruben
dogs.
wants to jump in on that show.
Dang, I'll jump in there. I might fly over there just to do the show with them.
So that would be pretty
Yeah.
good. I figured, and it might be an easy one for Frank. You know, I kind of scarred him a little bit with Monster Squad, so we'll see how he does with
not good.
Gremlins. So, but all right, you guys got anything else, Mark?
I'm good.
Ruben?
I'm good.
All right. Well, man, thank you guys so much for joining us for another episode. Of course, you can make sure and subscribe to all of our pages. You know, subscribe on YouTube so you see the episodes when they come out. Podbean. Of course, go join us on Facebook and the group or Instagram so you get 3 times a week the Underdogs, Monster Mash Wednesdays, and Friday Night Fights for the extra content. And we thank you guys again so much. Hope you guys enjoyed this. This is Sludge.
And Mark.
And you got the mole in Texas.
Y'all have a good night.
Good night.
Ha